fail forward. You won't break. Fail forward. Crash and burn till it aches. Fail forward. As many times as it takes. Always try to make some new mistakes.
Hi, I'm Father Stephen. Welcome to another edition of Fail Forward. For those of you who have been with us from the beginning, you remember that I've said to you that my only motive for doing this series was because I was looking out into the world and the world seemed to be suffering and I didn't know what to do. So I figured I could do this. Specifically, I see a lot of temptation to despair, and I see actual despair. I see people despairing of the possibility of truth. I see people despairing of the possibility of safety and sanity. Despair might be the devil's best thing. His ultimate goal, whatever is happening to us, that we would despair. On the cross, I can almost see the devil waiting for Jesus to despair. And Jesus says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And you almost hear the devil holding his breath, don't you? Because now Jesus is going to despair because God's forsaken him, right? So the next thing Jesus says is, into your hand I commend my spirit. It's an act of faith. And the devil is defeated. Jesus does not despair, even as he understands himself to have been abandoned. The Apostle Paul says, these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. The Apostle Paul in the book of Hebrews says, faith is the evidence of things unseen, yet hoped for. So there it is twice. Hope. Hope is the antidote to despair. Hope is the antidote to despair. Somewhere in my list of top 5 favorite movies of all time is the movie The Shawshank Redemption. I was surprised to learn that the movie was an adaptation of a short story, a novella, by Stephen King, the original title of which was Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. It takes place in a prison. The story begins in the late 1930s, and the entire story revolves around a friendship, a covenant friendship between two men, Andy and Red. Andy and Red, both prisoners, both serving life sentences, become friends. And for the 27 years that Andy is in that prison, in the movie he later escapes, those two friends that love each other so much have one argument, and I'm serious, one argument in 27 years, and they argue over hope. Andy says to Red that hope is a good thing, but it's the only thing that keeps him from going crazy. To nurture the hope that there is hope, that even in this horrible prison there is hope. And Red becomes so angry with him and looks him in the eye and shouts, hope is a dangerous thing in here, and he slams his lunch tray down and walks off in a huff. Hope is a dangerous thing. What does he mean? Well, I get his point. Hope is dangerous in this. It almost guarantees to make you a fool. See, to be in a posture of hope, one must take a risk. And sometimes the risks don't pan out. I hope the grocery store has exactly perfectly ripe avocados because I want to make guacamole tonight. and then you go and they're all green and rubbery, or they're all turned and too mushy. No guacamole for you. You hoped that there would be guacamole, but now you're a fool. Or maybe you fall in love, and you hope that this is your soulmate, your spouse, your beloved, and the relationship deteriorates, and your would-be beloved walks away from you and says no to a future together. I hope my friends will be faithful, and then one of them is not. I hope to get good news from the doctor, and you get bad news. So the character Red in the movie Shawshank Redemption is not technically incorrect, that the danger of the posture of hope is that it will regularly make you a fool, which is why human ego solves that problem like this. Well, then, my posture shall be to have no expectations at all. And that way I will never be a fool. Well, isn't that just terrific? What is the solution to the danger of hope? It's proud cynicism, not just any cynicism, but we're really proud of this cynicism. I will never hope again. And that way God or the universe or life or my friends or my family, no one will ever make a fool of moi again. Because I will never hope for anything again. Bitterness seems a lousy solution to the problem, do you not think? Hope. I, for a while in my career, was a hospice chaplain, and will simply never forget the day that a dying man, which is every man, by the way, came to hospice and was beginning to decline. And his wife pulled me into the chapel and looked at me earnestly and said, and I quote, "Is there any hope?" And I can only explain it this way. God was good to me because these words just poured out of my mouth. I really didn't think very hard because I responded to her immediately. I said, "That depends entirely on what we hope in and for." She said, "What?" And I got very fierce, and I don't know if that was the Holy Spirit or what it was, but I leaned forward and I said, "Is there any hope that we could be immortal?" Immortal means death-proof. No, there is no hope. Is there any hope that we could love anything or anyone and not suffer? No, there is no hope. But is there hope that mortals who love and suffer could live and die and love and suffer in meaning, in purpose, to the end of serving God and moving closer to God? Oh, there is so much hope. You have no idea how much hope there is. There is always hope in that. Yeah, Red is right. Hope is a dangerous thing. It will make you a fool. So you better just get comfortable with being a fool, right? Or as the Apostle Paul is fond of saying in the epistles, we are fools for Christ. And one of my favorite authors smiled and said, "Well, at least I'm not a damn fool for a change." He said we don't get to decide whether or not to be fools. We only get to decide what to be fools for. And a Christian is one who has decided to be a fool for Christ. These things remain: faith, hope, and love. And what those three things have in common, faith, hope, and love, is that none of them are feelings. They are postures, they are attitudes, chosen postures and attitudes. We don't wait to feel confident to have faith. We put ourselves in a posture of faith and trust that confidence will follow. We don't wait to have a love feeling to love our wife, our husband, our children, our neighbor. We love as a posture and an attitude and trust that love feelings will come. And we don't wait for hopeful feelings. To be in an attitude and a posture of hope. Trust that hopeful feelings will come. My name is Father Stephen, and this is Fail Forward. We'll see you next time.
Here's the strangest wish I ever wished for someone that I love. But if ever there was someone whom this wish was thinking of, well, I wish you chaos and the fire and the wrenching of the womb. I hope some misery grabs you by the neck and drags you from the tomb. When this life is finished shaking you across the threshing floor, it's not likely that you'll ever choose